The ultimate competitive advantage of Econ is that the course encourages you to use AI. The content and presets can be a lot more. Nobody really teaches you how to negotiate, exactly what this course does. What's going on, people? My name is Maxim. I just graduated from UChicago with a BA in business economics. The purpose of this video is to help you determine whether business economics is the right major for you, and if it is, which courses I recommend you should take and when, based on your career aspirations and interests. Please bear in mind that these are entirely my opinions based on my friends and my experience. There's a high chance that you will hear conflicting or different opinions from other students on campus, so take everything that I'm going to say with a grain of salt. If you want to go into consulting, finance, or corporate roles. Thanks for watching. Jokes aside, I don't think you need to major in anything else to secure those roles. And I think the ultimate competitive advantage of Econ is that it gives you just enough time outside the classroom to focus on the things that are actually going to move the needle in terms of you securing the role. For example, taking your finance and consulting RSOs seriously, where you actually learn the practical and technical skills that then you can put on your resume, the application process, the interview process, as well as being presented to networking events and opportunities. It's very common for UChicago students, especially early on during the second year, to take the easiest courses possible to solely focus on the application, interview, and networking process. You might hear rumors around Econ as a major. I'm going to address the two biggest ones I've heard. The first one being it's significantly easier than other majors. I definitely think the content and presets can be a lot more intuitive compared to other STEM majors. However, when it comes to midterms and finals, just like with most other UChicago courses, you're very likely to encounter questions you've never seen before. So you can't get away with just memorizing lecture slides and practice questions. You actually have to understand what's going on if you want to do well on those courses. The second rumor being you don't learn anything useful. I completely disagree. However, I do believe the courses you choose can significantly impact how much you get out of the major. This is the biggest motivator for me making this video. I think there are courses that are simply slept on or not emphasized enough, and I want to share them with you. So let's get into it. The Econ major is broken down into 5 components: core, 3 classes; methods, 4 classes; empirical analysis, 2 classes; perspective, 1 class; and booth electives, 3 classes, for a total of 13 classes. I got this directly from the 2026-2027 college catalog, which outlines all the major requirements. I left a link to that catalog down in the description of this video, so go and check it out. Going in order, starting with the core, definitely take principles of micro and macro, ideally by the end of your second year, as they are prerequisites for a lot of courses that you have to take. The only scenario in which I think it will make sense to start with the elements of economic analysis is if you're considering doing the standard econ track, but want to have the optionality to switch to Econ later down the line. For example, if you took the elements of economic analysis 1, you no longer need to take the principles of micro. You can just take the principles of macro and continue with the Econ track. For the foundation of business education, I strongly encourage you to take financial accounting as soon as possible, ideally in the autumn quarter of your second year, as you're not allowed to take booth courses during your first year. If you're going into IB, it will be extremely helpful during the recruiting process, but even if you're considering doing anything business related, you need a basic understanding of what a balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statements are and how they interact. Plus, financial accounting is a prerequisite for a lot of finance courses, such as corporate finance and investments, which you might want to take later down the line. Moving on to the methods section, where you have to complete 2 micro and 2 macro methods. They added a new economics for everyone requirement, where one of those 4 methods has to either be an economics for everyone micro or an economics for everyone macro course. Apart from that, my ultimate recommendation for the methods section is take the courses that sound most interesting to you. Out of the micro methods, I took and strongly encourage you to take Intro to Game Theory. It's super interesting and super applicable to most things in life. It will be slightly tricky, but I definitely think it's worth it. Out of the macro methods, I took and strongly encourage you to take Artificial Intelligence, Innovation and Growth. It's super relevant to where the world is going today, super interesting and very unique in the sense that the course encourages you to use AI And what I found as a result of taking the course is that my prompt engineering skills have improved a lot. Moving on to the empirical analysis section, I can't comment on the first requirement because I took Stat 22,000. However, it looks like it no longer satisfies the major requirement. From what I heard, Intro to Statistical Methods in Economics is not the most exciting course in the world, and I can't comment on statistical models and methods. However, if I had to do the major again today, I would probably do statistical models and methods, and then I'll take Intro to Econometrics. Intro to Econometrics is one of, if not the hardest courses of the major, so plan your courses accordingly. For the perspective requirement, I think the smart and sensible thing to do is to take an intro course in another major you might be interested in. That way, if you complete that intro course but decide not to move forward with that major, that intro course can still count towards your perspective requirement. However, please double check the details. Speaking from personal experience, if you're going to take an intro to CS or an intro to data science course, please don't take it during your first quarter at UChicago. Settle into UChicago first and then take it around spring quarter of your first year. That way, if you enjoy the course and want to do that major, you still have a lot of time to figure out how you're going to fit in both your Biz Econ classes and this new major classes. Moving on to the final and definitely the most interesting section of the major, the booth electives. I organized this into 3 bundles, and within each bundle, I ranked the courses in order of importance. So the first place being the one I would prioritize the most. The 3 bundles are consulting, finance, and under the radar courses that are not necessarily related to consulting or finance, but I think are unbelievable and slept on by most UChicago students. Let's get into it. If you're considering going to consulting, I strongly recommend taking operations management as soon as possible. This is where you learn about optimizing processes for efficiencies, supply chains, inventory management, essentially your very typical consulting work. For my second recommendation, I put 2 courses. Marketing strategy is for MBA students. However, you can request to take it as an undergrad, and marketing management is for undergrads. I've taken both. From what I heard, the structure of both courses does depend and vary on who's teaching the course. From my experience, I think marketing strategy will be more applicable to consultants because it had more frameworks and cases within more industries involved. So if you have to choose between the 2, I would lean more towards marketing strategy. I think managing in organizations is especially great for consultants because you'll be working in loads of different teams with loads of different people who have different personalities. And this course teaches you how to navigate in different teams with people who have different personalities. Super fun, super interesting. I took it with Todorov. He was great. I'm sure the rest of the professors are great as well. However, if you can, I do recommend taking it with Todorov. Moving on to the finance bundle, this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion. I think financial statement analysis is by far the most interesting finance course offered to undergrads. If you're genuinely passionate about finance and want to try to understand how C-suite execs can try and maneuver their financials to appear healthier than they actually are, definitely take this course. It's only offered in the spring. Disclaimer, there are no midterms and finals. However, the cases are super long and you'll have to do Excel by hand, but that's ultimately how you learn in this course. Having said that, all the cases are super interesting, and towards the end, you get to project the balance sheet, income statement, cash flows a couple of years into the future, and then build a DCF from those projections, and then ultimately value a company. Corporation finance is going to be super useful if you're going into investment banking, as this is where you learn how to build a DCF. Apart from that, the only thing I remember was we learned how to determine whether you should finance a company with equity or debt, and the Kappa model. No idea what it does, but I remember it. Investments is a lot more math heavy compared to financial statement analysis and corporation finance. If you struggled with calculus, it might not be the best choice for you. However, if you are interested in learning to understand how to build different portfolios around different risk tolerances and return expectations, it's a great course. It's super interesting. It is quite difficult. Moving on to the under the radar bundle, strategies and processes of negotiation is the most popular MBA course at Booth. Whether you like it or not, you're going to be negotiating for the rest of your life, whether that's at work, with friends or family, but nobody really teaches you how to negotiate. And that's exactly what this course does. prior to every class, you'll be assigned to one of the two roles because it's usually going to be a two-sided negotiation. So for example, I might be the seller of a painting and you might be the buyer. I have certain information about the painting that you don't, and vice versa. Then we come to class, we get matched, and we start to extract as much information from each other as possible to then figure out on price and potential other factors we might come up with as well. Super applicable, super interesting, strongly recommend. I definitely have a personal bias towards this one because this is the stuff that I like and find super cool. However, if you are interested in learning how some of the biggest brands in the world have been created from scratch and how they might change their positioning in the future given the evolving market landscape and competition, definitely give this course a go. Business ethics was really interesting in a sense that there was usually a conflict between profit opportunity and morality. So for example, there's a opportunity to do business in a certain area where the government is known to be corrupt and you will have to cooperate with them. So as a firm, do you enter, do you not? And then the class would kind of divide into two. Some people would be for, others against. And then we kind of just have an open discussion about the case. What do we think? And every single week, the cases would be different, but the core would be kind of this like conflict between like profits and morality. What's wrong, what's not, like how do we decide, who gets to decide. Yeah, hopefully that was useful. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments below. Until then, thank you for your time and I'll see you in the next one.